Hello everybody, welcome back to the Gaming Spiral. I am your host Percy the Jester, and today we have more Total Warhammer 3 for you. It's more of a aggressive campaign, and unlike the Skaven, our units aren't made of absolute paper. Of course, I'm talking about Skulltaker of Khorne.
Those I seek, for the Blood God's throne!
Now, this entire race is very simple. The gods of Khorne just want one thing: bloodshed and skulls on the Skull Throne, and Skulltaker really likes leaning into the second half of that sentence. So it is no surprise when the entire goal of this mission is very aggressive, and the challenge, in quotations, is just attacking really difficult parts of the map and beating really strong factions in combat. What are these really tough parts of the map and really strong factions of combat? Well, first off, we want the entirety of Ulthuan, something like that. The entire crescent moon shaped island where a lot of the high elves hold up shop. And then we also want to take the Maelstrom to try and get the pirates of the Vampire Coast out of the way. I think it's Count Noctilus specifically. And also we want the entirety of South and North Africa. And you know, just because I hate myself just a little bit, I also decided to put on the entirety of the Ultimate Crisis mode. That stuff is maxed and it triggers in between turn 80 and turn 100. To my great pleasure, we actually can easily auto-resolve this victory and not lose pretty much anything of heavy note or worry. And then also, I'm going to explain now what Skulltaker's whole shtick is so that there's no confusion. You look at this skill tree and then tell me what you think Skulltaker is good at. Skulltaker also has some other really weird things about him. So this is a settlement I am sieging, right? I'm about to take this settlement from Tzeentch. And you'll see I don't have the usual options. I can sack it for some money, occupy it for some skulls, or raise it for two separate options. One of them creating a blood host and the other one giving me a lot of skulls. Now, early on, economy is very important, so money, skulls. We need those two things to go up very quickly to sustain ourselves, because we don't make money from buildings. We make money from robbing other people. I spend multiple turns trying to end, but cannot because of, quote, low funds and the incredible, horrific economy of this faction. Now, after I take the settlement and actually spend skulls occupying it, we get access to something that Skulltaker really depends on: his skull cloak. This will determine basically everything about how Skulltaker behaves, and mostly has to do with him killing enemy lords, moving to get to enemy lords with a teleportation ability, or replenishing his army after killing a faction leader. Now, it's been a couple of turns, and it's time for me to try and push into more territory and try and take more stuff. So I sacrifice some of the regular skulls to power up my army with this ability that allows me to summon regular Khorne infantry. And on the turn that we do it, honestly, we need money more than anything else, so we sack it so that next turn we can come back and raise it. And in the process, we even managed to earn Skulltaker his very first mount, the Blood Red Harley. The Bretonnians come back to stop me from raising the settlement with two armies when I encircled the settlement, so now it is time to go in with Skulltaker and show the Bretonnians how it's done. So, if you're ever wondering what the Khorne faction plays like, I have an excellent example of what using them on the battlefield looks like. Hey, look at that. I did hope you guys enjoy the music also, but like, look at that. We won, and we were really, really not favored to win, but it only took, about 10 minutes of dealing with cavalry and ranged units when I have nothing but infantry. I really like this style of play versus the Skaven style of play and the Nurgle style of play. What you do essentially is you use your incredibly powerful infantry to deal with enemy units and drive through them, and then use your lord to kill their lord and break their morale. So, as long as I don't play like I actually only have 2 brain cells, I can pull out a W even when outnumbered. And to accentuate this point even more, you get Demons Reforged pretty often under Khorne. I pushed through auto-resolve this because I got part of my army back, and then also after this I choose to raise the settlement and create a blood host, which is basically a free army. Then the real flow chart of the Khorne faction is brought to light. You get an ability that allows you to immediately settle a settlement at tier 2. So even after raising it to get the blood host free army, I still get the settlement. Why create a blood host here? Well, my main army is really licking its wounds and it's kind of understocked. So I need to take a break and rebuild the army. And I can use the blood host as a front runner to conquer more settlements and weaken down the other army while I'm recruiting. I need to keep the pressure. I need to keep raiding, need to keep sacking, need to keep raising settlements over and over and over again so I don't go broke and I don't get overwhelmed by enemies' constant replenishment. So here is an interesting problem that I have. The blood host is kind of wounded, already took down a settlement, and now they're trying to push me back with a kind of weaker army. I couldn't really win. What I could do was whittle down the army and kill the lord, which means that the army will either get a fresh lord recruited and then not have any movement, or they won't refill the lord slot for the army and then the army will just die. And as you can see right there, there's no army banner left around the city. There's no nothing. They just attacked me and died. Even look at the map, there's only one flag that enemy has left, and it's at that settlement we can see, and it's way above half strength, which is way stronger than that army we just fought was. So Percy, I hear you ask, is this really the game plan, to just run into enemy settlements, build mountainous piles of skulls to get free armies, and then keep raiding them for money? Yes, actually that's exactly the plan. Good job, Gold Star. So after this, we get into kind of a hard rush with a lot of wars. Marcus Wolfhard declares war on us. The Cult of Ecstasy declares war on us. I think one of the Boat Elven tribes declares war on us. The Chaos Dwarves come and try to kick us in our teeth for a little bit. There's a lot that goes on immediately after this, so instead of me sitting here explaining it to you one detail at a time, I have a classic for you. Okay, so where are we after all of that? Well, to tell you the truth, Marathi is door dashing us the Sword of Cain, so that's a big plus. I managed to get strong enough to overpower her, even though she was like 40 strength ranks above me in the leaderboard. It turns out Skulltaker's actually pretty damn tough. Now, also, we are at a pretty good position to start sieging Ulthuan. I've got a lot of skulls, I've got good opportunity to make money by sacking these settlements, I've got the time, ability, and power to really do this. If you're wondering how I did this, it's because I basically got into the rhythm of either raising a settlement to get skulls, sacking it for money, or raising it for a blood host army. I barely conquered anything except for using my ability on cooldown to auto conquer settlements after they've been raised, which I'm sure you can tell from the turn counter from before the Hall of the Mountain King montage to after. We went from turn 13, I think, to turn 86. I have been busy, to say the least. If you're liking the kind of work that I'm putting out, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, tell me areas that I could improve in. I tend to respond really well to actual genuine criticism, so please do feel free. Hit me up in the comments, whatever. I am all for it. TikTok, YouTube, doesn't matter. Just let me know. Reach out, talk to me. Maybe I could add something to the video that's missing. Maybe there's like different music I could use. Let me know.
So, the Great Siege of Ulthuan has begun, where our entire goal is to use blood hosts and one army to keep making more blood hosts and keep washing over these settlements in something my southern culture loves to call the roll tide.
There is, however, one problem to trying to take over Ulthuan with one army and a bunch of blood hosts. Marathi and being reinforced by settlements. Marathi can easily take 2 or 3 blood host armies, even fully researched by herself without the Sword of Cain. If she still had it, sieging Ulthuan would be impossible. Now, how powerful is Skulltaker actually with the Sword of Cain? Well, this was still while the Sword of Cain was thirsting and not at full power, and to conserve health on my other units, I sieged this entire settlement with just Skulltaker by himself, and it is a flawless victory.
Shut the fuck up! Know your fucking place, trash!
The funniest thing about this is immediately after soloing that settlement, Skulltaker's 3 blood hosts that are holed up near Nagaron get attacked by these wood elves on their wild hunt, and boy is it hilarious when I just auto-resolve them out of existence. So this is like the really grindy part of the campaign where smaller factions are just taking my settlements whenever I'm laying siege to Ulthuan with Skulltaker, and my even smaller armies and blood hosts are starting to overrun Ulthuan and the entirety of Nagaron's forces over and over and over and over and over again. They just can't keep up with, it turns out, perpetually free armies, because I create a blood host, that blood host takes settlements or destroys armies, thus getting skulls. Then that blood host makes more blood hosts. My main army fights other main armies, wins, and then creates more blood hosts. Not to mention that through using my skull throwing abilities and other unholy manifestations, I can either replenish all of Skulltaker's movement, completely heal his army, or give myself other bonuses such as barrier, bonus attack, bonus raiding money, just anything that I really need. It just can't all be on the same turn. So now, on this turn, we need Skulltaker to put in some work. So we need to take on 2 armies, a settlement, and then another army and a gate settlement to try and really get our foothold in Ulthuan. So we take the gate first, and because it's going to be the easier of the victories, and then we raise it to create a blood host, so that the blood host can go attack the inner parts of Ulthuan while Skulltaker deals with the big army and the settlement behind me. Not to mention also that due to how the units of corn work, that after you win and you take some replenishment, there is a chance that you will get demons reforged, recreating the units that you lost for the Pyrrhic victory. So here we have my back really against the wall. Nagron has gotten full armies together to corner Skulltaker at this settlement. If I lose here, they get the Sword of Cain and my rerun of Roll Tide ends. So here we go, our Hail Mary. We click that lightning strike button, still see a valiant defeat, so I have to fight it out. And Skulltaker is definitely gonna rack up some numbers, let me tell you. So sit with me, or don't if you want, and enjoy the last battle of basically Skulltaker killing every single entity in the enemy's team, and then everyone else just kind of bogging the enemies down in an endless horde of unstoppable infantry. Please do like, comment, subscribe on things that you think I could improve on, or things that you just liked about the video. Maybe music suggestions, non-copyright of course. And then we'll see what we can do next. Maybe issue a challenge to me if you want. I can probably try just about anything.